자,
너구나.
What's up, guys? And today we're talking about The Witch Part 2. I went back to it, I watched the whole thing, I got some things to say. So let's start off spoiler free. What I'll say about this movie is, now that I watched the whole thing, is that the first movie feels like a small superhero movie. I was thinking a lot, something like Chronicle, have you ever seen that? And after watching the second one, this one feels more like a phase 1 Marvel movie. And the movie is different, but it's the same in ways that are both good and bad for the movie. Speaking on the bad, I guess, there are some things that are so similar to the first movie that it just kind of feels like they just did the first movie again and then recasted everybody. And so it's like, you kind of already seen this, but especially when it comes to the action, it is very different. This, especially with like the main girl, once you start getting to the end, the way she handles things is different than the first girl. There are still references to the first girl in there, so it's not like a complete like reboot. This is the same world. This is connected to the first movie. Hence why it's called Part 2, which is while we're here, weird name, The Witch Part 2, the other one, just like it's a weird naming convention, just like the first one. But that being said, yeah, I think this movie, this one is a lot more fun. It's a lot more action packed. It doesn't hit as hard for me. I still like the smaller feel of the first one, but there is a lot more to love in this one. I can see, like, if I was going to show my family one or the other, I'd probably show them, if they're only going to watch one, I'd probably show them the second one just because it has like a lot more going for it. That being said, this movie, just like the first one, and maybe even more than the first one, is a little confusing on on the sense of like, there are more enhanced people in this one. It's kind of like, wait, so what are the rules here? And because there are more enhanced people, it almost makes it feel like a time skip. Like, did like the companies learn more information? Did they do more experiments, or like what's really going on? I know someone in the comments of the first video was saying that there's a TV show, so I don't know if it's like interconnected between 1 and 2. But if we're doing like the MCU thing, that's kind of annoying if I gotta watch a whole TV show to fully understand the little things of the second movie. The other thing is that there were like one too many threads. I felt like once we got to the end, I mean, it worked out in the end, but there was one thread that I was like, okay, we could have just cut this here and we could have just continued the movie on. I got why we got there, but I didn't really want it. I didn't really want everything in there. So yeah, it was like just one too many ingredients in this metaphorical meal of a movie. But yeah, no, this one is definitely more action-packed. It's more fun. I think it does a better job at showing what it would be like if you came, straight out of the, compound or whatever you want to call it, as a teenager / young adult, and then had to like figure things out. I think that makes things a little more fun. Whereas, with the first girl, she got to grow up normal. So it's a different twist on the whole thing. But again, the movie does kind of feel like we're retreading some of the same stories. So, but I mean, I still enjoyed this one. I'd prefer the first one overall. But yeah, so I am going to get into spoilers. So if you don't want to be spoiled, I appreciate you. Don't forget to subscribe. If you haven't seen the first or watched my first video about the first movie, go check that out. I'm going to get into spoilers in 3, 2. All right, we're getting into spoilers. All right, so if you haven't seen the movie or you don't care, we're here. First off, shout out to everyone in the comments of the first video for not spoiling the fact that the girl is back in the second movie at the very end. I think I read it, but I think I misunderstood, or maybe didn't fully it didn't stick in my brain that they were gonna meet up, that they met and then they're gonna go meet the mom. I think when I read it, I assumed that she's gonna go find her sister and then they were gonna meet the mom. So I assumed like movie 3 was gonna be them meeting for the first time. So when she popped up at the end and the girl was like, "Oh my god, it's you," I was like, "Oh my god, it's my girl. She's here." Granted, you know, we didn't really get to see her in action. She did rip off the one girl's head, but I mean, she's here. It makes the movie a little bit better, 1 point up. But yeah, I still think that the first movie's better. The main girl for this one, once she started getting into like her action scenes, it felt more like Jean Grey, which I think kind of works when you think about like the future of like, okay, the older sister is more like, or what seems like the older sister is more like hands-on, and then the other one is more like the telekinesis part of it. I'm like, okay, I can see how that like bounces off, but I just felt like she was like, it just wasn't visually as interesting to see her like make the little bubble and like throw people around and like make the sphere. Like, it was cool and all, but like the other girl, I liked that she would like, you know, punch you around and then do a, you know, her little superpower thing, and then she's smiling like, "Oh, you think you could beat me? I'm toying with you," you know what I'm saying? And I think it was a detriment to have more enhanced kids in this movie and then have them all just be so weak, just like the first movie again, especially like, it seemed between the 4 kids in the car, the one girl was like teed up to be like, you know, the Gar of the group. Like when she spoke, they're all just like, "Oh my god, she's gonna kill all of us." And then, you know, the younger sister, I'm just gonna call her the younger sister, just beat her so easily. She just had her stab herself a bunch of times. And like, you know, it was child's play, and I was just like, okay. And then when the guy gets flung into the house or the barn or whatever, and he comes out and he's like, "I'm gonna hit her with a telekinesis blast." It's like, brother, you're not even the strongest of your group, and she just beat the strongest of your group. So like, just walk away. Just walk away. You shouldn't be here. I actually forgot. I had to rewind. This is just a little small thing for you guys. I had to rewind because I was like, all right, there's 3 girls and 1 guy in that car of like the enhanced kids. And I was like, what happened to the one girl? And I had to go back and see like, oh, she got popped in the head like 4 times by the little soldier lady. And I was like, oh yeah, that's what happened to her. I forgot. I did like the knife girl got, you know, she like did the super speed, but the other girl was like so much faster than her that she just broke the knife off and stabbed her in the head. But again, having, you know, the younger sister also be so like OP, it's like kind of hard for me to have any suspense or have any like oh, what might happen, because it's like, okay, she's just gonna crush everybody, and then she crushed everybody. And again, having a knife girl in this movie, and then we had a knife girl in the first movie, again, it just felt like, okay, we're doing the same movie but with a different cast, and it's like kind of, you know, takes away from your film by doing the same thing again. That being said, let's talk about the different plot lines, right? So the enhanced kids, I was like, okay, we're still doing it. I get that this specific company, that's like their thing, is like they have different facilities and they're clearly using the enhanced kids to go kill out the other enhanced kids. And it's never really clear why they do that. Like why the enhanced kids are like, yeah, cool, we'll kill the other ones. Like, I think if they would have set up more of like, you only get out if you're like in the top group, right? It's like you have to be top 4 or else like you're cooked. I think that would have worked, but that's never set up. So it's like, well, why are you killing the other ones? Is this just like, do you all just assume that you're the best? Like, I don't know, and it's never clear. But yeah, once they added this to this second movie, I was like, all right, I don't know really need this. But I thought that the farmer thing was done once the younger sister pretty much like murked, you know, half the group that showed up to take the house. And so when they popped up to get the doctor, I was like, oh, like, really? You're gonna go after this after you've seen what she can do? But he's like, okay, we called up the people that are after her. And I was like, okay, cool, that story's done, and then we're just gonna move on from there. And then, you know, we're gonna have the soldiers or whatever you want to call them, and then we'll have the enhanced kids, and then it'll all just kind of boom. But then the farmer dude, the guys that were trying to take the farm came back again, and then they met the enhanced kids, and I was like, okay, well, they're gonna get the information, they're gonna kill him, and then we're gonna end it here. And it was like, no, we're gonna add on again. And then he got the powers, but he didn't get the powers. It was so confusing. That's why I was like, there's too much, a little too much going on. We could have trimmed some stuff. Again, having the enhanced kids there, and they all just get murked. It was like, and they set up the one girl to be the strong one that they were all scared of, but she did nothing. So what's the point? In terms of the government soldiers, I like the chief. She like her, like, you know, she's, you know, bad cop, and the other guy is like the good cop or whatever you want to call it, you know, serious or the funny one. I like her being the serious one when she is talking Korean. Her English dialogue, I think it's just her English isn't as well. So like a lot of times when she's saying like the English stuff, it almost feels like she's reading off like a note card or something. Like there's not as much flow to the dialogue itself. So I was like, that doesn't work for me. The white dude, I don't know if he's supposed to be American or not, is just the worst part of this movie. Like I was like, yes, when he died, I was like, I wish this would have been like an hour earlier, because he's the worst part of this film. Clearly they were trying to do some sort of like, you know, we need a jokey character, and he just was not funny at all.
Yeah, Sicky, that's a curse word, right? That's the F word, right?
그래 씨발 욕이다 이 새끼야.
F word again, F word, F word.
아 계속 깨어르네.
Oh, you're a swear master.
Honestly, him, and I truly mean this, he brings the movie down like a whole point. So yeah, and then when you get to the government people, right? Again, this is the same problem I had with the first movie. So there's like the good looking dude, and I was like, what is his role in the whole thing? Is he from the TV show? Am I supposed to know who this guy is? He never pops up again. Like they meet, but then he never pops up again. And it's like, okay, and he's from a different company, question mark. So again, it's like, what's going on here? And in the first movie, only the kids had powers. It was kind of alluded that the dude with the glove might be a little enhanced, but they never really did anything with that. And now it's like, okay, no, there are enhanced soldiers, because they fight the enhanced kids. And, you know, we have the two main ones, the chief and the annoying guy, but they're not as enhanced. They can't like regenerate themselves and stuff. So it's like, what's the deal here? I don't understand. We got the twin sister doctor. She's just kind of there. I know in the first movie it set up like the first girl was going to fight whoever like her little bodyguard girl is, and we still haven't seen it with if that bodyguard girl is even worth like anything in this world, because she's just always just standing there just being like, yeah, listening to whatever the doctor's saying. So I don't know. Speaking of the doctor, right? So when I watched this movie the first time, you get the setup, and there's that bus full of kids, and you get the one girl, and you get the other girl who's like a little more, you know, like outgoing and stuff, and she's like, oh, did you hook up with what's his name? I originally thought like, oh, they just recasted the movie and they're doing it again, but it's like, then it goes like, hey, this is happening a long time ago. When they take the kids to, you know, get the girl, and they throw the smoke, and it's like, oh, okay, this is kind of low key crazy. But like then they start like, like shit, like go back to sleep. Like I was like, oh shit, like they're beating these kids, and then of course, you know, get the dudes that go in and obviously like beat them to make it look like they died. It's like, yo, this is crazy. But then to set up that this was the mom, and she's special, and she's gonna have special kids, and they're gonna copy her embryo and then make clones of those special kids, is like, what? This feels like what I imagine it's like to be an MCU fan but not watch all this stuff. Of just like, I feel like I'm missing like a movie here and a show there, just to make sure I'm getting like all the information, because there's just like a lot of things here and there, and I'm just like, I don't know I don't know the whole thing, and I feel a little bit lost, and I don't want to be. Yeah, I think that's all the. Oh, of course we got the older sister and the brother trying to save the house, and of course the younger girl, getting to know them and all that. I love the entire dynamic. The younger girl kind of like being imprinted on the older sister, and she kind of becomes our older sister. And I love the it's not really a bit, but it kind of becomes a bit of every time she's about to like start killing somebody, the older sister has to be like, hey, relax, you don't have to kill anyone. And she's like, oh, okay, my bad. I didn't know it was like that. I'll chill out. I like, there's this great moment where, you know, the younger sister is looking at all the food, and clearly she hasn't eaten like this ever, probably. And then the older sister and the brother are having this, first it's a play fight, and then it becomes like this deeper thing of like, you left us, dad died, you're only here to like try to pretend like you cared as much as you did about dad. And it becomes a serious moment of these two clashing. And you know, the brother looks at the random girl in his house, and he's just like what the hell are we doing here? And he goes upstairs, and then it ends with the bit of her just like, and you kind of see her in the background just a little bit, where she's just like wolfing down all of this food.
네가 언제부터 아빠를 그렇게 챙겼는데? 언제부터 여기가 네 집이었냐고?
And I was like, this is such a great moment, because you can see, like, she looks at all the food, which is like the setup to the joke. You have this serious moment that ends, and then you get the payoff to the joke at the end. Whereas, and people keep complaining about this, and this is the same issue I have. And one of the things I noticed about the MCU lately, even watching some of the old movies, is like sometimes they just won't let a serious thing be serious. That it's like, oh, this is too serious, throw a joke in there and it feels more of like a monkey wrench in the middle of a scene. Whereas I like this was like, we're gonna do a joke, but right now we're gonna have a moment, and now that moment's done, and you can laugh now. And it's like, okay, cool. That's one way to do it, and I like that. I like that the brother, instead of being scared of the sister, she's like, oh my god, we could put her on YouTube. She can start doing things. We'll get ad revenue. We'll get subscribers. We're gonna get this money up. It's gonna be great. And he's trying to explain it to her, and she's just like, oh my god, is this food? We can eat that? What about this? We can eat that too? We can eat that? He's like, yes, there's food. We can eat all of this. Are you not listening to what I'm saying? They go to the grocery store, and she's just like housing all the samples, and he has to like chase her around. And it has them feel like a family. And what I really loved about this main character is just like seeing all the wonderment in her eyes of just like even putting her hand out the window, seeing a dog, just like being excited about food. He's like talking to her, and he's like, listen, if you do this thing for me, I'll get you a large pizza, I'll get you wings. And she's like, really? And he's like, I'll even get you spaghetti. And she's like, spaghetti? Like, they're just like these small little things that I loved about their dynamic. When the older sister gives her like the blanket, and she's like, oh my god, like, thank you. And she's like sniffing it. Like, there's something very endearing about the whole dynamic. So it was so tough when you know, sister just gets unceremoniously blasted, and the brother also ends up dying, even though he was supposed to be saved. And you know, the main girl from the first movie is like, hey, listen, you can save one of them, but you know, they may never be human again, and maybe it's better for them to just, you know, rest. And just, you know, this unfortunately, this is their story, and that is their story. But I kind of like that. It's like, yeah, we don't need to, first off, we don't need to add another character, and also, like, it sucks, but I think that adds to, you know, the severity of this world that they're building, of just like, sometimes like people just be dying. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's unfair. But it sucks that I really like the three of them as a kind of family. I know the two of them are kind of flirting at the end, you know, the brother and the girl, but I like their dynamic. I wish we would have had more time with them, but R.I.P. The only other thing I would say is just when the dudes come to take the house, and she kicks the dude through the barn, I would have been like, I'm out. Now, granted, the second guy, he didn't even have time to blink before she like super speeded over and like broke his leg. But the third dude was like, oh, I'm gonna hit her with a bat. And it's like, brother, run. Right? But he goes and, you know, he hits her with the bat, and of course it does nothing. And then I think this is the part where she kicks the car like a soccer ball, and it just flies across the field, right? And it's just like, okay, guys, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure the adrenaline's running. I'm sure you're probably like, am I seeing what I'm seeing? If I see someone kick a car like they're playing kickball, all right, I'm out. I'm dropping. Hey, listen, this is just a part-time job for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm out of there. I can't even fathom why you'd want to stay, but that's why I loved the part where he goes, the main guy, like goes to shoot the gun, and she like kind of smacks it out the way, and he just starts screaming, and then he like falls to the floor. He's like so scared, he doesn't know what to do, so he's like, go, get out of here, go away. Like she's some sort of dog, and because he just does it, he's like, I don't know what to do, which is why it was so frustrating to have him come back twice, because it's like he was so scared. Like he should have just left the movie. Like that story should have ended. But yeah, let me not ramble anymore. In conclusion, this movie's good. It's not as good as the first one, in my opinion, but it is way more entertaining. I am hoping we get a third one and we get back to... I'm interested to see the sister dynamic. I do want them to have some sort of struggle. They can't both be OP. I don't need solo leveling with two main characters. I need a little more, resistance. So hopefully that gets going. Because I mean, I'm sure Mommy Dearest is also, overpowered. I don't need 3 phoenixes, you know what I'm saying? Like, give me something to feel a little anxious about. Have one of them feel like they're on trouble. But yeah, so not as good as the first one, but still very entertaining. I think it should have set itself apart from the first one a little more. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe, and until next time, peace.